the dawn of the space age, man goes underground in his search for the secrets of the skies. Deep under a hill at Cambridge in southern Tasmania, two of science's most unusual telescopes probe into outer space. Bob Jacklin of the University of Tasmania is recording cosmic rays from unknown sources in the universe. Penetrating far underground, these rays reach a sensitive telescope, and their pulses can be seen on a cathode ray screen. At the university itself, 6 telescopes, some stationary, some rotating, measure the different intensity of the rays as they strike the surface of the Earth. Tiny neon lights flash as the cosmic ray particles pass through the telescope and bury themselves in a layer of lead. Banks of mechanical registers, the same devices that count telephone calls at an exchange, register the number of cosmic rays received throughout the 24 hours of the day. Directed by the University of Tasmania, scientists at Australia's Antarctic stations and in New Guinea are making similar observations to study the fluctuation of cosmic rays between the equator and the pole. Even as the research goes on at the university, scientists tirelessly are experimenting. Physicist Peter Ford has an experimental machine of his own to record the frequency of cosmic rays on a time chart. Timing is an all-important factor. A chronometer switches in the different counters each hour and causes the telescopes to rotate. Dr. Geoffrey Fenton, reader in physics, directs the cosmic ray research program of the Tasmanian University. His assistants keep an eye on equipment at remote stations. On Mount Wellington near Hobart, Ken McCracken checks the intensity of cosmic rays 2,000 feet above sea level. Other tests have been made in aircraft 4 miles above the Earth's surface. The atmosphere absorbs much of the energy of cosmic rays. Above the atmosphere, what is their intensity, or their likely effect on travelers in the first space vehicles? The University of Tasmania is slowly searching for the answers. Answers it is beginning to read from screens like these. Flaring exhausts shatter the rural peace of a small farming community in northern Tasmania. Across the meadows outside Longford, a racetrack has been rebuilt, a broad bitumen speedway encircling 1.5 miles of rustic landscape. Lynn Archer, one of Tasmania's best racing drivers, leaves his occupation as a grazier to hurtle round the track at 100 miles an hour in his Cooper Climax. A blowout at this speed could mean death. The Longford racetrack was recently rebuilt at a cost of £20,000. With its surface widened and sealed, cars on the flying mile have been clocked at 150 miles per hour. In March, Longford was the venue of the Australian Grand Prix. A few years ago, motor racing was new to the little farming community. The chairman of their motor racing association, Ron McKinnon, became interested when the track took shape around his property. He gave the land for the new pits and lent his bulldozer. The vice chairman is the doctor, Mills Bates, who's competed in the Monte Carlo. Now, most of the townspeople take a pride that Longford has been built as one of Australia's finest racing circuits. On a small farm near Ulverstone, on the northwest coast, 5 men and a boy start the first stage of an annual industry whose products will end on the world's dinner table. One of these men is Bob Robertson, farmer. Every year he sows down 2 or 3 of his fields with this crop. To the farmer, it's just another part of the farming pattern, one which must be learnt by his 11-year-old son, John, who's already mastered some of the skills by which the modern farmer reaps the good earth. Duplicate this simple pastoral scene on hundreds of farms all over northern Tasmania, and the result is peas. millions upon millions of peas, all heading for the several canneries which dot the coast. The whole vine goes to the factory, or sometimes to viners in the field. The viner is the sort of mechanical marvel man might invent to find needles in a haystack. All the peas are collected on one side, and the trash is thrown out the other, to go back to the farmer for silage. The peas go through a pipe into the cannery, and are automatically cleaned and graded before freshening up under an ordinary shower bath. To the casual eye, all those peas rolling past are as alike as peas in a pod. But to the expert, a few are inferior or damaged, and nimble fingers pluck them up. Peas are sorted into 5 sizes and 3 grades. The best medium-sized peas are frozen. They're carried on a conveyor belt into a giant refrigerator and emerge frozen stiff at the other end, where women feed them into polythene bags. Packed into boxes for quick delivery by air, these peas will feed families all over Australia, except maybe Farmer Bob Robertson's, who no doubt have got some of their own.